real life stories with a host of women having real life talk, the good and the bad, with no judgment. Uncommon Women's Loyalty is here to support those that need a safe space to speak their truth and rawness to the world. Tune in, relax, take notes, and let's vibe. Here are your hosts, Uncommon Women.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're listening to Uncommon Women. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. I'm super excited because we have a remarkable story today about a woman that was a 14-year-old runaway and joined a cult. Now, I don't want to call it a cult because as she goes into her story, she talks a little bit more about it. But she was able to transform her life as a mother, an entrepreneur, and an author. And I'm super excited to have Wendy Baker on our show today. First and foremost, thank you, Wendy, for coming on Uncommon Women. How are you doing today?
Well, thank you so much for having me, and I'm doing great today.
Okay. So I'm super excited to hear about your story. I know the people that are watching are going to be mind blown by everything that you're going to be discussing today. But before we get into the details of everything, can you tell us a little bit, about your life, your journey of, being a 14-year-old girl, and before you got to the process of running away, how was your life at home before then?
Well, my life at home was pretty chaotic. It was not a positive childhood at all. Basically, I was just a being there. There was no love or interaction with my mother. And I had three other sisters, and we were all just kind of surviving in this household. But it just wasn't the normal upbringing at all. It was pretty negative.
Mm, okay. Now, were you just raised by your mother, or were you raised by a two-parent household?
I was raised by a single mother.
Okay.
Basically, she had four kids, all a year apart. So we were 1, 2, 3, and 4 years old when
Wow.
our supposedly father left. And so she was left to raise us by herself. She had some financial help later on from her mom, which was my grandmother,
Okay.
but it wasn't pretty.
It wasn't pretty.
No,
Okay.
no.
Now, I like to get into a little bit of the foundation in regards to a childhood. Was your grandmother a single mother as well?
No,
Or
actually, my
okay,
grandmother was and my grandfather have been together till she passed away. They
okay,
were brought up very Orthodox Jews. They were, they had a very strong, committed relationship. I think she was a good mom
okay.
to my mom and my mom's sister. I just think that she just was very angry at my mom for marrying my dad and having four kids, and he was an alcoholic, a wife beater, and I
Mm-hmm.
think they told her not to marry him and she did. And I just think it was just a whole bad experience, the whole thing.
Right. And I wouldn't know, but she probably also resented not listening to her parents.
I think she was guilty. I think she was
Yeah,
resentful. And I think looking at us, we reminded her of him.
of
And
him.
there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot. I mean, I totally, as an adult, understand where she was coming from, why she did what she did. I still don't think it was right.
Right.
Still believe you rise to the occasion for what God gives you. I don't think you need to, you can make it a much better situation, and she chose not to.
Absolutely. We definitely always have a choice at the end of the day. I love
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So, how was that transition of being 14, not really, you know, knowing the adulting life? How did you just pick up and decide, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this no more. I'm not going to feed into the negativity with my mom. I don't want to be around that type of energy. And you just left. Like how did you come to that point?
Well, I was driven to this commune by this boyfriend that I had at 12 years old. It
Wow.
was his
Okay.
father that started the commune, and he introduced me to it. And every time I would go to like a morning meditation class or a yoga class, I just felt so loved. There was so much
Mm,
love energy, and it was so beautiful, and it was like a family. And I was so drawn to it that I just kept going and going and then not coming home. And before I knew it, I went and never went back home. I
wow.
just loved being there so much. The energy was so beautiful, something I had never experienced before. So I guess that drew me to it. And it was a battle within myself. Should
Mm-hmm.
I go back home? Should I stay? A constant battle. But then I just kept staying, like as if there was this huge force of energy.
Wow.
In the end, I stayed.
Okay. So can you tell us about the commune? Because I don't like to use the word cult. Um, what technically is the Source family? Can you bring, our viewers into, what you believe it was at 14, and then now looking at it, what do you believe it is now?
That's a really good question. So at 14, it seemed like it didn't seem cult like to me at all.
Uh-huh.
It just seemed like a group of people that had a common interest. They all wanted to, be pure, healthy, vibrant, people in the world. We ate very healthy. We were vegetarians.
Okay.
Didn't cut our hair. We wore only white.
Hmm.
We were only thinking positive. There was just lots of love everywhere. The leader of the commune, or I call it the family, he was just amazing. He was magnetic. He was so powerful, but in such a good way. And it was
Mm-hmm.
almost like I think I looked at him like he was a father image to me, which I never
Wow.
had.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at it then, that was, I believe, my draw to the whole family. Um, what I look at it now, it was kind of cult like, it was brainwashing like. Uh,
Mm.
it definitely, I definitely outgrew it. It was a 5 year experience. I think I got out of it everything I needed, but I don't think I would have done it, any longer than that.
Okay, okay. So to me, it sounds like, you came from a little bit of dysfunction and you found your peace. So you wanted to gravitate to that because that wasn't the norm of what you were getting from home. And that's really brilliant at 14 to be like, this is not healthy where I'm at, but this is what I want to at this moment.
Yeah, sometimes I look back and I'm in awe at myself uh, for for being like that, because
Hmm.
I always thought as a child that I was very shy and, timid and just not strong, very weak.
Hmm.
And really, in hindsight, I was actually the opposite. I was
Brave,
super
right.
strong, and I was super aggressive in my whatever I felt I needed. So it was really quite the opposite. But it's funny how when your childlike mind, how you think of yourself. So I've grown into myself, and I do believe that I'm, pretty strong person now. Took a couple years, but
I love it. I love it. It amazes me how, as adults, we look back at some of the things we do as teens, and you're like, you know what? Back then in that mind frame, we felt as though we were um not doing as much as we should. But when we look at, wow, we got through a lot of stuff. Like, you
yeah.
can't do some of that stuff now these days and be safe.
Yeah, well, I look at my children, they were never
Uh-huh.
predicament, or my grandchildren, they are so not even in that place. So I don't know, I kind of believe that I had some karmic path, that I
Mm.
was supposed to go through this. I don't
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't think I planned those things.
Right, right, right,
Yeah,
right. So you were gone for how long were you? I guess you never returned back to home. Is that correct?
pretty much. That's
Okay.
correct. And, well,
So
yeah.
so was your family looking for you? Was your mother looking for you? Did you have contact with her in the process of this? And did you guys have a talk like, "Hey, mom, I'm not coming back," or how did that process go?
Well, before I actually left for good, I told my mom that I want to join the Source family. And she said no.
Okay.
And so I know that she had some family members come to try to talk me out of it. I didn't go yet, but I was constantly going there, but not like spending the night. So
Right.
then finally I just left. And if you read the book, and there's in chapter 3, it talks about my mom took me to court. Yes, she took me to court. There's a whole court scene.
Okay.
The judge, I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but
Yeah, we want people to get the book.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it didn't end up the way I think she thought it was going to end up. It actually was a lose-lose for both of us. And was she looking for me? I mean, when you read the book, you'll find that I was constantly being looked for by the authorities. Not so much by her,
But
but
the
by the
authorities.
authorities. Yeah. Yeah. It's a big story about that. I don't want to give it away. It's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
crazy.
We would definitely want to toggle around, not talk about too much, because the
Right.
purpose is to have someone come purchase your book and then see the transition in your life. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, being I don't do you did you consider
Uh-oh.
yourself, can you hear me? Oh, technology.
I'm trying to get the sound back. Yeah, there, I got it. Okay.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
So, did you consider yourself a fugitive at a young age?
I definitely, positively was a fugitive.
On the reflection of
No
that.
question. Yeah. I mean, pretty much the whole 5 years that I was in the Source family, I was a fugitive.
Wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow. And, living day by day and, going to anything in the public, did you not have any, like, were you scared or were you nervous that they were going to come get you, or did you know that you were protected?
No, I was scared constantly, looking always behind my shoulder, unless I was at one of our, compounds, where nobody was really going to come.
Right,
I felt pretty secure there. But no, when we were traveling and
right.
going to different locations, I did feel uneasy.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay. So you said that you have 3 children, correct?
correct.
How old were you when you had your first child?
I was 16. I had
Okay.
her in the commune.
Wow, wow,
Yeah,
wow, wow.
yeah,
So 16, having your first child, did you reach out to your family when you became pregnant?
absolutely not. It actually, if really let's just say I was 17, because
Okay.
it was 2 weeks before I turned 17.
Okay.
So pretty, it's closer to that. But no, I mean, I was really into being in the Source family. I was with her dad.
Okay.
His name was Starman in the family. We all got names.
Okay. Oh,
So,
okay.
I know my name is Wendy, but in the Source family, I had 4 different names.
Now,
I
why
know.
4 different names? We got
I'll
to talk
tell you
about that.
why.
We got to
Because
talk about
when
that.
I first joined the family, he gave me the name Lila, and that
Okay.
lasted for about 2 weeks. And then after that, he gave me the name. He said, that's not a good name for you. And then he gave me the name Nirvana.
Okay.
So Nirvana was my name for about 2 years, a
Okay.
pretty good amount of the time. And then he gave me the name later on into the Source family, when we were in Hawaii at that time. He gave me the name Mushroom. And that's why
That's
my
the
book
look in
is,
the book.
yeah, that's why it says my name was Mushroom.
Mhm.
So it didn't, it changed. And then the last year of being in the family, I got the name Heartstar. So
Mm.
my name was constantly being changed, I believe, because I was a fugitive. And they didn't want,
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, they
That
didn't
makes
want
sense.
them
That
to
was my
keep
next
knowing.
question. That
Yeah.
was my next question. Is anyone else getting their name
No, not
constantly?
really. No, not really. Not like that.
And they were okay with you being a fugitive, and, especially being
Well,
a family, and, how that, what I'm saying? Like, being a part of their family, they were okay with the possibility of you getting locked up?
I know, right? Well, see, in the book, it talks all about that. And
Okay.
believe it or not, there's a section in there where I was locked up for
Oh, dang,
about
I gotta get this
for
book.
about a week. And I didn't want to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they protected me. They, the leader of the commune, like I said before, was the father
Father. Mm-hmm.
of this boyfriend that I had. And so he knew my family life. He knew what it was like. And on another note, my 1 year older sister joined the family also. We both did it together. We
Wow.
both left home, although my mother didn't care that she left, but she did that I did. So it is a
Hmm.
story like no other. Um, it's amazing that I survived it. That's something I can say.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So looking back as an adult, fast forward after you're out of the source family. Well, before we get into that next question, how did you leave? Like, what was the reasoning of you wanting to leave? And then we'll get into your business and things like that. But did you and your boyfriend, did you guys break up? Like, how did that process go with you leaving?
So pretty much the whole time I was in the source family, I was with this man named Starman. That was his
Mm-hmm.
name. So I was in love with him. We had our baby. We had this great relationship. And then just some things happened that he did that just were not cool with me. And I also started growing up,
Mm,
started, maturing a little bit. I think,
finding yourself.
yeah, like I was like, I don't want to really be with him anymore. This isn't working out. This isn't the direction I want to go. I know I have his child. And that's why I stayed for as long as I did, because I had his child. So
Okay.
basically, I met this other guy in the family. His name in the family was Sir Knight. You can't make this up.
Night. Okay.
So basically, Sir Knight rescued me in the middle of the
Aw.
night. Yep. And he took care of me. And at that point, I was 18,
Okay. Okay.
almost about to be 19. And so legally, I'm home free. So I'm like
Right.
no longer afraid. So
Mm-hmm.
I was with him for a little while, and we moved from Hawaii back to LA.
Okay.
And I didn't want that life anymore. I mean, I
Mm,
still did a lot of the things that we did, a lot of the philosophies. Like I didn't cut my hair. I still stayed a vegetarian. I
okay.
still meditated every morning. I did my
Okay.
exercises. You just don't go
It
from
doesn't just
doing
turn
that
off.
right to
Right.
cut it off. It took years and years slowly to eliminate certain things, that I became accustomed to. So I did not stay with Sir Knight. He was just an amazing human being that helped me with my
The
transition.
transition.
Yes. He was my transition guy. And we're
Yes.
friends today. Today we're
Aw.
good friends. And I'm always just thankful to him for everything that he's done for me. And we talk and I help him. He helps me. He's just wonderful.
That's
So, anyways,
amazing.
that's how I ended it. And then there was a little snippet that I did move back in with my mom.
Wait, what?
Yep.
Oh, I gotta
And
get this book.
yep. So I'm like 19 years old at this point, and she let me live with her while I decided to go back to school and get a
Okay.
degree, and I needed support. And she let me do that.
Okay.
So we actually decided to forgive each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here I have a child,
Yes.
I'm going to school, I'm working. And I forgave her. I thought, this is ridiculous. We don't, and we never talked about it. She doesn't even know what I went through.
Wow.
Never. I didn't write the book until she passed away.
Okay, oh, sorry about that. So she passed
Mhm.
away. So what was your relationship like with your mother?
It
When
was,
you guys reunited basically and never discussed
I know,
never discussed your the transition,
the
not being there
journey.
for that long.
Yeah. Well, was brought up like that. So for her, it was
Okay.
no big deal to not
Okay.
talk about something emotional. For
Right.
me, it was kind of like, let's talk about it.
Right.
But it didn't happen.
Okay.
So really what ended up happening was I actually became very close to her. And
Oh,
she and I became her closest child and friend and advocate and everything else. And I ended up taking care of her the last 5 years of her life.
wow.
And we became the best of friends. And she actually, as me being an adult, became a very good mother. So we really had this beautiful relationship. And so did my other sister, who left the Source family as
That
well.
was my next question.
Yeah, she worked out so much with her. So we
Uh-huh.
both feel really good about everything, how, we had this relationship. And yeah, it was amazing. Actually, it's the last chapter in my book, and the last chapter is called Forgiveness. And the
Mm,
entire chapter talks about, you know, how hard it was for me to do this, to forgive a horrible childhood, but I did it. And I believe I did it with grace. Um, and I think that I grew as a person because of it. And I
mm-hmm.
think it made me a better mother. And it all around was the most magical chapter of all, that number 13.
I love the 360. I've always, heard the saying that the forgiveness is for us, not the other person.
Right.
So do
It
you feel
did.
like there was definitely like a weight lifted off of you once you was like, you know what, let me forgive her? As a mom, I understand, we go through stuff, but we try the best that we can do as parents. Um, do you believe like once you forgave her that the weight was lifted off your shoulder?
Yes, I do. I believe that. And I believe that whatever karmic thing we had with each other was lifted. I think we both grew. And oh my God, I was so grateful. I had this most
Oh,
beautiful, loving relationship with my mom, which I never thought possible. So it was amazing how the world opened that up to me. It was just gratefulness. What can I
I
say?
love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
She turned
So
out to
let's
be a pretty good person.
pretty good person at the end.
Yeah,
How's your
yeah.
relationship now with your siblings? Are we going to get into that today, or is that another
Well,
topic?
that, I could even easily write a book about that one,
Another book, right?
but two of my siblings stayed in the household and were subjected to a lot of horrible stuff.
Toxicity. Mm-hmm.
They didn't turn out so good.
Oh, okay.
And my sister, who was in the commune with me, we are best friends.
Oh, okay.
But one of my youngest sister passed away. She was an alcoholic,
Okay.
and so she passed away, pretty much abused her body. And my older sister, I can't even have a relationship with her. She's nuts. Yeah,
Mm, mm.
really sad.
So you definitely can see the transition from, childhood with your siblings that grew up in the dysfunction and how they made poor choices, I guess, and the outcome of that versus, you and your sister being in a cult and honestly having a better relationship, but also finding some type of peace or, generation breaking curses in regards to that. Is that correct?
I would say that because my sister and I got a lot of love, compassion, and we took care of our bodies and ate properly, and just lived a much more healthy life, that we turned out differently than
Mm-hmm.
they did, because they didn't have that. you
Understandable.
know
Mm-hmm.
that's my belief. I mean, my oldest sister, she's probably thinks she's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
from all I understand. She's probably happy and doing her thing and happy about it. not,
Mm-hmm.
not my way, but it's her way.
Okay.
So it's her choice.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, what sacrifices do you believe that you made during this journey, whether it's personal or any challenges you faced along the way, looking back from then to now?
Many, many, many sacrifices. For one, I didn't get to graduate college, I mean high school, with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
check.
Wow.
I didn't ever go to a prom. I wasn't able to experience the party life. I've never partied,
Okay.
done anything like that. Um, I never experienced going away to college. I always had a child, a responsibility I took very seriously. And so I basically went from 16 to 30.
An adult.
Yeah, an adult. And, everything that everyone experiences in their youth, I did not. That's a
Mm.
lot of sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with it.
You're okay
Watching
with
my
it?
children go through it and going to the prom and going high
See,
graduate, the
okay.
whole drama of it all. I'm just thinking to
It was
myself,
well
you
worth
know
it.
what? That's okay. I didn't need to go through that.
It was well worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So how is your relationship with your children? You have, is it 3 children, correct?
I have 3 beautiful children. My
Okay.
my oldest has just turned 50. So that
You
was
look, did you say 50?
yeah. Yeah. So
No way.
I'm 67.
You look amazing.
You can tell in
Congratulations.
this little tiny phone. Well, that's very
No, you
kind.
look great. You look amazing.
Well,
You look
that's
amazing.
kind. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So she just turned 50. We are very close. She's amazing. Her name was given in the family Stardust,
Okay.
but she goes by Jamie now. My middle daughter is Amber, and she's 45,
Okay.
and we're extremely close. She lives right down the street from me. So
Aw.
we've been very close forever. And then I have a son, Brian, who's 39, and we're just all very close.
Oh, very close.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm assuming you raised your children with love, with peace, where they can communicate with you as they were growing up. Did you raise your child? Obviously, you probably raised your children differently than how you were raised. Is that correct?
Well, I'll say my husband and I have been married 46 years.
Okay.
Okay, so they come from a two-parent household,
Cool. Mm-hmm.
who two parents that love each other very much. And my children were the most important thing to me in my life. They came first before anything else. They had a very normal, loving, exciting childhood.
Okay.
They will tell you that they had the best time ever.
I
And
love
they
that.
all 3 of them went to college.
Okay.
I gave them that gift. I said, I didn't get that. So I would like you all to go to college and, major in what you would like to and do something with yourself. So I gave them that gift.
Okay. Okay. And how long have you been an author?
2 years.
2 years. Okay. So you're a fairly new author. You're a fairly new author. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you talk to your husband and your children before or in the process of writing your book?
Well, I did not. I told my children I was going to write a book, but I never told them what happened in my life at that time,
Okay.
because if they knew what I have done in my past, that wouldn't sit very well, because
Mhm.
I was a pretty strict mom,
Okay.
and I told them, they learned about everything what I went through when they read the book
Ah,
before it went
wow.
out to the market, and they all 3 had different reactions. It was really quite funny, but they loved it. Of course now they think I'm this really cool mom now, and
Uh-huh.
what I've done, and just all the notoriety that it's brought me. They think I'm amazing.
They
So
think you're the cool mom. It took you 40 something years to finally become a cool mom, right?
yeah, exactly. Up until then, I was, really not.
I love it. I love it. What was your husband? I'm sure you guys talked about it as you were writing the book. What was your husband's input or, you know, reaction when you
So
expressed and told him everything?
right. So throughout the years of our marriage, well, first of all, now this is a little bit of trivia. Everybody knows it, so I'm going to go into say it.
Okay.
But the leader of the commune was my husband's father.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew a lot about what was going on. He
What was
never
going on?
joined.
Okay.
Yeah, he never joined the commune. the family. So throughout the years in our relationship, when we were alone, I would tell him little bits of things that happened. And
Uh-huh.
he was like, this is amazing stuff. You've got to write about this. And I'm
Look
like,
at
oh,
that.
yeah. I'm like, no, I'm never gonna write about
Right.
this. So on and on, I'm telling him throughout the years. And then my mom passes away. And I always
Mm.
said, look, it would just be too hurtful to my mom to write
Oh.
because it doesn't make her look very good. And she's
Mm-hmm.
really good now. So
Right.
when she passed away, he's like, I think now's the time for you to write your story. So he supported me and he encouraged me. And it was during COVID. And I thought, okay, I'm going to write the story. I didn't think it would go anywhere. I didn't think anyone would really read it. It turned out that a lot of people read it and liked it. So I was pleasantly surprised.
I love that. He motivated you to share your story and tell your truth. And I love the fact that even though you weren't able to have that personal talk with your mother, that you were able to, you know, give your perspective and your vision through writing of what you went through.
Yes. It was very emotional writing the book. It
Mm-hmm.
kept taking me back to all those emotions, which were quite a bit. And
Mm-hmm.
it was hard. It was a very hard thing to do. And I had to interview like 25 family members that were in the Source family. I had to
Wow.
get my timing right. I'm probably not perfect in all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I've already been called out on a couple missed
Of
time,
course.
of course, right? I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I just wrote the best I could, but
Right.
it was healing for me. I feel healed by writing the story. And every time I talk to you or anyone on a podcast or an interview or a book signing or anything, I'm another step closer to being healed.
Yes, 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 yes. I'm also a four-time author, and one of my
Well,
books, I talked about my family. And when I tell you, I was like petrified to tell my parents, because my parents are still married, you know, a little bit of the dysfunction that I went through in my parent book. I was like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So I went over to his house the day before, went over to my parents' house the day before my book launch. And I was like, I gotta do this before we have this book launch, because once they
right.
read this book, they're gonna be like, what the heck? You know, because
Yeah,
in
yeah,
my upbringing, it's like, you know, what happens in the house stays in the house. We don't tell people about what goes on in the house. And I knew that as I was writing my book, I was like, this is going to help someone else. This is definitely like a breath of fresh air for me, therapy. Absolutely. And it's also going to, I'm not doing it to hurt anybody. I'm doing it to just share my story and give my perspective of my lens and my vision of what I was going through.
I totally relate to that.
And let me tell you, the day before my book launch, and I try to go tell my parents, my dad shut me down like that. He's like, don't nobody read books, and nobody gonna read your book. And I was like, I didn't have this book launch tomorrow. Like, you know, listening and playing back the things that I've been through, and, you know, letting him get into my thoughts. And, you know, my book coach was like, you're doing it. I don't care. Like, it's tomorrow. The venue's here. You're doing it. And I'm so glad that I pushed through and stayed obedient and did it, because not only did I sold out that day, but it's opened up other opportunities, speaking engagements. I'm able to share my story, tell my truth, and it actually brought my relationship closer with my parents.
Yes, I believe that. Yep.
So I definitely cold heartedly believe you when you say it brought you peace and it's healing every day.
Yes. Yes. Even like right now, I feel another relaxed, healing,
Layer.
peaceful layer peeling off. Definitely.
I definitely can attest the testament of that. Absolutely. That's
And what
amazing.
one thing too that I noticed is that I used to feel bad about what I went through as a child and
Hmm.
guilty and all these weird feelings. Now I'm like, no, I don't feel bad about it anymore. That's what happened. And I put it into its perspective And I
Yes.
learned from it because I wouldn't want anyone to know what I went through. I was embarrassed.
I feel you. But now your story is remarkable and it's helping other people, because I'm without a doubt, I'm sure that people may have went through it, even children or adults that went through the Source family and see everything that you went through, they're probably have a different perspective of it, you know?
Yeah, well, many of the Source, there was over 200 plus members in the Source family, and a lot of them have read my
A lot of
book.
them read it.
Yeah, and they've contacted me like, I didn't know you went through that. Wow,
Oh,
that was incredible. Because it's not like we talked about, oh, what did you do before you joined?
right, right, right.
That was non-existent. No,
Mhm.
nobody even knew my name was Wendy.
Because the name trans
Right. They all thought I was Mushroom.
mushroom.
I go, no, my name's Wendy now,
Oh, I love that.
Any
How does it feel? How does it feel to stand your ground in the name in your real name, Wendy? How does it feel? Does it feel powerful?
well, I like it. It's funny, as you grow up, you like it, your name.
Mhm.
It's fine. I'd rather be called Wendy than Mushroom.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I like the name. It suits me.
It suits you. I
Yeah.
love that. So, from fugitive to business owner, can you
Yeah.
explain the transition on, how you established that and now, you and your husband owning a business?
So, at first, when we first got married, we were married pretty young, like at 21
Okay.
or 20. I think I was 21 and he was still 20 within a few
Okay.
months. Anyways, we just, we were young and not educated but ambitious,
Mhm.
and we were willing to work hard. We both just kept working little stupid jobs that I would create for myself, like babysitting.
Mhm.
And
Hus-
he worked in
Hustle
a
to get the money in.
restaurant. Yeah, exactly. So we, just always were out looking, our antennas were up, always looking for what would be a good business that we can make good money. And my husband, first he was a fireman. And so we had that money, to keep us going. And then we found some friends that were in the insurance business and they were making really good money. So we said, let's go into the insurance business.
Mm.
So we did. He got recruited by a district manager and he got his license and he loved it. And I worked for him and just made it everything happen for him to sell insurance. And then I became an agent. And then before we knew it, we were doing really well. And we were very consistent, honest, hardworking, um, reliable insurance people. So I think it's just that
Mm.
combination really helped. And we opened it up and started in Malibu, right down the street from where we live. And
Wow.
that was really hard because nobody took us serious for
Right, right.
5 years. They thought, oh, this is going to
But
be
you
the
stay consistent, which is remarkable,
Mhm.
you know?
Stayed the course, kept it going, even when times were tough and we didn't make that much money. We stuck it out, and I just kept joining, like, different organizations, like the Chamber of Commerce, the
Mhm.
real estate people, I was on the board of Little League. I was a Cub Scout master. We just kept, being involved with the community and just being who we were. I think we attracted the clients.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So now we're a very big agency, very strong and well established and very successful.
With any business, I believe you have to put yourself out there in order for you to be successful. Even if it's hard for some people, you definitely have to put yourself out there, make those connections, build those
Yeah.
relationships, because the relationships is what's going to bring in the money. You can't
Right.
chase the money. You got to chase the people. I've learned that from being a business owner as well. Once you chase the people and build relationships, everything else will come into place.
Right. Right. It's just that this clientele in Malibu took a while. But now we've got them, and everybody, we've been in business now for 37 years, 36 years, something
Wow.
like that. So we're pretty,
Okay.
we're pretty well established, and I think we're well respected in our
Absolutely.
community. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's get on to your business owner. You're a new author published within 2 years. How can we purchase your book?
Well, I know that it's selling in some stores like Barnes and Noble, but I think your best bet would be to get it off on Amazon.
Okay.
And if they just pull up, My Name Was Mushroom, Wendy Baker, it'll pop up right away.
Okay.
It's sold a lot of books. It's
Mm-hmm.
done really well on Amazon. I've also done, decent in bookstores, but much better on Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah, and it comes in hardback, paperback, Kindle, and audio.
Let's
And
go.
I'm the narrator on the audio.
Okay.
I
You're the narrator on audio. That's
Yeah,
amazing. That's
yes,
amazing.
yeah.
What was the reason why you picked the name Mushroom and not your other three names? Just curious.
Well, we did a survey. It was at one time going to be called My Name Was Heartstar,
Mm-hmm.
but that was only my name the last year. Um, we got unanimously voted by, we put it out on the internet that everybody liked My Name Was Mushroom, because that was my name probably the longest.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I
Okay.
mean, I was open to lots of different names.
So that's the one that stuck with everybody.
Yeah, that just seemed to, yeah. And lo and behold, that name attracted a movie director, and he has taken on my project and he wants to make a movie out of my book.
Let's
I
go.
know. And very slow process this movie industry is, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at some point, one day, I think there's going to be either a television series, a mini series, or an actual movie in the theater,
Let's
whichever they
definitely speak
decide.
that into existence. Yes, I'm super excited. So now I definitely have to read the book before the movie comes out because I'm already
Right.
speaking that into
Well,
existence.
it's very beginning stages.
Uh-huh.
They actually just wrote it, so
Uh-huh.
it takes a lot of time to
It does. It
sell
does.
it to the studios. And I mean, we're not don't there's no rush.
It's no rush. Yeah, it can take years. Absolutely. It
Yeah,
definitely can.
yeah,
You want to make sure that it's signifying your story, you know?
right, right.
You don't want to rush into anything. I
Right.
totally agree.
I
I
have
totally
creative control. The two people that are writing it, one of them I went to school with, and she remembers me from high school, and she's a writer.
Wow. Look at the full circle on
I
that.
I know, right?
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I
If
know.
you could if you could give advice to anybody, rather it's anyone that is interested in joining the Source family, rather it's a teen that doesn't want to live in a toxic environment, or rather it's any advice that you can give as an adult to anyone that's listening, what would it be?
Well, first of all, the Source family no longer exists,
Okay.
so you
Okay.
can't join our Source family.
Okay.
Um, you know what? I don't think it's a bad experience. I don't think it's a bad thing, because it taught me discipline.
Mm,
It taught me so much about nutrition and health. And today's world, everybody's meditating, doing yoga, eating, purified organic foods.
right.
We were just way ahead of our times. We were thought of as weird people, but today we would have fit right in. You don't
Mm,
need to join a family, commune, a cult to do those things.
right.
Make a conscious decision to do it and do it. If you're in a toxic family life, I don't know. I don't I didn't I could not stay in that family life. It was just too bad, too awful. So I
Okay.
don't know about what you could do, maybe move in with another relative, live with a family friend, but I don't believe any child should have to stay in a toxic family environment, in an abusive situation, whether it be emotionally abusive, physically, mentally. Mine was pretty much emotionally abusive.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm,
yeah, I don't think a child should have to be forced to do that, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. I agree. Okay. So before we get into our closing thought, we do have a self-love seminar that's coming up, and I would love to share a video for our viewers to let them know to be sure to go on our website, uncommonwomen.net, to purchase your tickets. Here is a playback of last year's seminar before we actually close out.
I reaffirm my dedication to do the work, to unlock, live, and rediscover the purpose of what God has given me. I love me. Unapologetically.
To know that God is working. Now I want to show you something on the screen right now that God did for me. July the 5th. Ready? Now, I didn't get to tell you because I was saving some of this. But from 7 years old, so at the age of 20, I started praying for my husband. And I thought, rejection has been that thing in my life that I've been like, man, that seems like every time I turn around, somebody's telling me no. The word no, always no. And for the longest time, it was that thing that made me just fell back, right? And I'm like, nah, all right, look, it's not my time. You know, I wasn't owning what was before.
Search point in my world around me, I get intimately connected to. In January of 2023, this will resonate with some people in this room. My word, the prayer that I gave, my word for 2023 is situation, blame that boss, blame that chick who's across the hall, we're blaming people, but it's hiding. We also call it, we get frustrated when we can know the truth and still lie.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Yes. So we are getting close to our 4th annual I Love Myself seminar. So if you're tuning in, we've actually just had an amazing testament and storytelling with Wendy Baker. So you definitely got to hit the replay to hear everything that she's went through and the transition of being a fugitive to now a business owner. And one of the questions we ask all of our speakers are, what makes you uncommon?
Oh my God, I am completely uncommon. Here I'm just a young mother who was able to push through a lot of challenges and become successful in marriage, family, and business. Brought up in a very turmoil, toxic, horrible childhood. That's uncommon.
It definitely is. And I love that you were able to, turn your lemons into lemonade.
Yes, I love that saying. I love that. Yeah, I mean, I could have turned out completely opposite, but I made good choices in my life.
Well, thank you.
One of the best was marrying.
One of the best choices, and becoming an author.
Becoming a mother, but marrying my husband was the best.
Yes. I love it. Well, thank you so much again, Wendy, for, coming on, sharing your testimony. think it's truly amazing, the transition. And I definitely am going to go ahead and purchase your book on Amazon without a doubt.
Thank you.
Thank you for the viewers that tuned in today to listen to her story and her testament. Please remember to visit the website at uncommonwomen.net if you're interested in purchasing any tickets for our upcoming self-love seminar. And if you want to be a guest speaker, have any questions, you're more than welcome to email us at uncommonwomenpodcast@gmail.com, or you can also go onto our website at uncommonwomen.net. And please remember to always stay uncommon.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you've been shacking up with us for a while and haven't subscribed to our channel, what are you waiting for? Please like and subscribe to Uncommon Woman so you won't miss another episode. And remember, don't let anything or anyone affect your peace. Good vibes and stay uncommon.